Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Jerry Morris, docket numbers 20-286FH and 20-287FH. And this is the time set for sentencing. Mr. Morris, can you just confirm for me that you did agree to do this remotely?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. So, Mr. Morris, you were convicted in this one file of third-degree home invasion. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. And then on the other file, breaking and entering a building, a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison. You have the right to an attorney, and you are represented by Mr. Toivonen. And Mr. Toivonen, have you had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
I have reviewed the report with my client, yes.
Okay. And do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the report?
The only thing is Mr. Morris raised some question about his jail credit. I think it's listed as 51 days, but he believed it was longer. I'm not certain about that.
Well, it's listed as 45 days on the home invasion and 92 days on the breaking and entering.
Okay. Okay, I think that would be correct then, yeah.
That's right?
Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
And that was your only question?
That was the only question, yes.
Okay. Did you have any objection to the scoring of the guidelines?
No objection. I think we, Ms. Allen and I did actually agree to some changes that do affect it a little bit. With the prior record variable, we had changed, I think it was PRV 5 from 20 to 15. And that resulted in the total PRV total being 110. Which keeps it at the level F, doesn't change that level.
Okay, that's right, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then
okay, so I changed PRV 5 to 15 on both the SIRs, and that's, as Mr. Toivonen said, takes it down to 110, but no change. You had another one, Mr. Toivonen?
With the offense variables, there was OV13, which was scored, but it should be scored as 0. And that results in just an OV total of 5. And that means the OV level drops down to 1.
There was OV19 there's OV19 as well that brings us to the 5, because OV19 is scored at 10 and should be 0. So that makes the total 5. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I just changed OV13 to 0 and OV19 to 0, right?
Correct.
Now that's just, I'm looking at the breaking and entering a building. Do I make those same changes on the home invasion one?
I would imagine so.
For the PRVs, yes, Judge. The OVs are a little bit different because of the home invasion.
Yeah.
We have a correction to one of those. But if we're doing just the B&E with intent, the level then goes to a 1, and the range is 10 to 23 on the B&E with intent file.
Well, I've learned through experience that even though they say you only score the highest crime class, they really don't mean that.
Yes.
So to avoid reversal on appeal, what do I change on the third-degree home invasion?
Sure, Judge. Sorry, I just wanted to clear. I don't know if we had done the range yet, so I want to make sure I cleared that up. And then the home invasion third, OV14 is scored at 10 and should be 0. And that changes the total to 11, but doesn't change the level or the range.
Oh, okay, great. And then going back to the breaking and entering, what is the, that takes us down 5 points total on the OVs, takes us down to 1, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the range is what?
10 to 23.
10 to 23, thank you. Okay, I've made all those changes. Did the people have any changes to the report itself?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, let me just make sure. 24. Okay. And was there a victim who wished to be heard?
No, Your Honor. We spoke to the victims on both these files before the initial plea back in 2020. They were good with it. We've reached out. We haven't heard any comments back. The restitution has been noted in the pre-sentence investigation report, and the people have no further comment as to sentence either. We leave it to the court.
Okay, thank you. Then that turns us to you, Mr. Toivonen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Morris, I found he's a rather pleasant person to deal with, and I've enjoyed speaking with him. He does have a serious substance abuse problem, and that's why I think that the recommendations here in the report are make a great deal of sense. That after doing some time in the Ingham County Jail, that he be released to TRICAP and that he go through substance abuse treatment, because that's what he needs. He indicates to me that he knows that and he wants to do the best he can. We're aware of the fact he did not show up for his original sentencing, and that is a negative mark against him. And we're hoping that you don't hold that too much against him. I think he wants to make a change. He also does have work with Kruger Roofing and Construction that he can go back to as soon as he's able to. So I would ask him to follow the recommendations in the report.
All right, thank you. And now you, Mr. Morris, was there anything you wanted to say?
I'd like to first start saying I'm sorry for not showing up for court. No excuse for that. But also, like I said, I did a little bit of time here to think about what I've been doing. What I did was wrong, but I do need some help with, in my addiction. I'm not gonna, hide it out no more. But when I heard TRICAP will help me get my stuff back together when I go back to work and be active in society again. And I ask that follow recommendations too, if you will, please.
Okay, thank you. It is abundantly clear that you need help with the underlying problem here, which is the substance use disorder. And the only problem is, and it's not your problem, but I can't send you right away to treatment because of the pending charges in Eaton County, and they haven't done anything with those yet. So this is the recommendation, and I did speak with the agent about the recommendation because we were trying to work out how this would happen. And I just want you to know, Mr. Morris, how this is going to work. So as your attorney said, there's going to be a period of incarceration first, and then after you've completed that, you'll go to inpatient treatment. But if by that time the Eaton County case hasn't been resolved in some way that's consistent with you going to treatment, then the Eaton County case being pending will prevent you from going. So you'll have to serve out the rest of my sentence without going to outpatient or inpatient. That's not the preferred approach here, but just understand that I can't send people to inpatient when they have a felony pending in another county because it's a problem. I mean, the inpatient won't take you because you're needed on a felony in another county. So that's the whole reason behind this. Our goal, though, is first and foremost to get you into treatment. So I am hoping that will work out. And on docket number 20-286FH, I'm placing you on probation for a period of 18 months, 365 days in jail with credit for 45 days served. After you've served 180 days, the remaining 180 days, actually the math isn't right, is it? After you served 180 days, the remaining 185 days will be suspended for placement in the TRICAP program. And you also have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, state costs in the amount of $68. I am waiving oversight fees, restitution in the amount of $950 to Stacia Clark, costs in the amount of $250 based on the State Court Administrative Office calculated average cost of a criminal case in Ingham County. There'll be a concurrent 18-month term of probation on docket number 20-287FH, and the same sentence there with after 180 days in the jail. I will suspend the remaining 185 for placement into TRICAP for a total of 365 days in jail, subject to the suspension of the remaining time, of course. You get 92 days credit on that file. You have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $68 in state costs. I'm waiving the oversight fees and then costs in that file. in the amount of $250 based on the State Court Administrative Office calculated average cost of a criminal case in Ingham County. There'll be no earned early release or sheriff's tether on either file. And then the conditions of probation will be the same, but for one provision, but they'll be the same otherwise on both files, and that is no use or possession of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances, no recreational use of marijuana or use of marijuana in violation of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. You must comply with both drug and alcohol testing as your agent directs. You must attend AA, NA, and or CA meetings as directed by your agent. You must complete a substance abuse assessment when you're referred by your agent and complete whatever outpatient or residential substance abuse treatment you are referred to. As I've already indicated, you must complete the TRICAP. It's the opiate program, and you may go to that after 180 days in jail. You must waive confidentiality and allow any treatment program you're in to disclose information about you to your agent. You must not engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. No contact with anyone you know to have a felony record. You may not change your residence unless you first get written permission from your agent. You may not possess a weapon while you're on probation. You must contact your agent no later than the first business day following your release from treatment. You must comply with the written and verbal orders of your agent. Let the agent into your home at any time. Submit to a search of your person or property without need of a warrant. Report any changes to your agent within 24 hours. You must be in your approved residence between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. unless you're otherwise excused by your agent. And you, in docket number 20-286, you may not have any contact with Stacia Clark, either directly or through another person. You may not be within 500 feet of her residence, school, or place of employment. And on the other file, you may not have any verbal, written, or in-person contact with Glenn Kirkham or be within 500 feet of his residence, school, or place of employment. And then going back to the conditions that they have in common, there's just one more, and that is you must make genuine efforts to find and maintain employment a minimum of 30 hours per week. Mr. Morris, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. There is a form that you use to do that, and we will send it to you out at the jail. You should just be aware that the time period starts running from today's date. Do you have any questions before we end this hearing, Mr. Morris?
No, I just wanted to know what do I have in Eaton County? I didn't know I had anything out in Eaton County.
Yeah, you do. It's still under review, but they're probably going to issue it. If they don't, great. But they haven't issued it yet, but they're looking at it.
Okay, one more thing. Now, if I can't get the TRICAP, then I do a year here. If they don't let, if that holds me up from there, going to TRICAP, I do a year here then, and then go to TRICAP.
Okay, it's hard for me to understand.
I'm sorry. If I do a year, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? It's hard for me to understand you because it's real echoey in the room you're in, but don't worry about getting back and forth. They'll do it. I mean, if Eaton County issues charges, they'll get you from the Ingham County Jail to take care of the Eaton County charges, but you don't have to worry about those things. And then your agent will keep track of you as far as your status, and if it's time for you to go to TRICAP, your agent will make sure that happens when it's time.
Thank you.
Is that basically what you were asking? Yeah. Okay.
Can I clarify one thing? I may have missed it. I was writing it down. Did you order restitution to Glenn Kirkham on 20-287FH? I saw it in the PSI.
I didn't see it. I might have missed it. I didn't see it in the PSI. I only saw Stacia Clark. Yep,
he was on the other one. Just it's $75. I think on the updated one, it was number 28.
Okay, so we'll add $75 to Glenn Kirkham.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, then that will conclude our hearing. You can tell them there at the jail, Mr. Morris, that you're all set. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm ready.
Okay. I don't know if this is the Livingston County Jail or not. Dan Addis. It's not a victim or anything like that. Okay. I'll give it a try. Give it a whirl. Yes. Hi, Mr. Sweet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure you're with us. Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Dustin Sweet, docket number 20-918FH. And this is the time set for sentencing. Okay, I'm getting someone talking. Oh, that's actually an echo of me. I don't know why that's happening. Mr. Sweet, can you confirm for me that you did agree to do this sentencing remotely?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so you were convicted of possession of methamphetamine, a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison, and receiving and concealing a stolen motor vehicle, a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I did mute you because although it's my echo, it seems to be something related to the Livingston County Jail. So you can speak when it's your turn, but I have to unmute you and it'll take 30 seconds, just so you know what I'm doing here. So anyway, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. Petrovich. Mr. Petrovich, have you had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a few.
On the face page, it says that the kilobrew is 9 months at 6 months, right?
Yes, that is one of them.
I changed that, and I changed it on the other page too.
All right, then I guess relatively similar to that is the total amount of jail credit. For whatever reason, they calculated it to April 1st. When you go to today's date, it should be 269 days rather than 265.
Okay, I've changed that to 269.
And then the last is that it reflects that the case out of Livingston County is still pending, though as it reflects later on, that was set for sentencing on March 25th. So since that is now post-sentencing, that is no longer pending, which is both on the cover page and then it's 9 of 11 in the criminal history.
And I looked it up. It looks like he got 1 year with 278 days credit. Is that right?
That sounds accurate to me.
Okay, so why don't I just put that in on the Livingston County offense? Number, which one was it? Oh, number 9 of 11.
Yes.
So I'll put sentence, 1 year, jail with credit for 278 days. Okay. And do you have any others?
No more factual corrections or updates.
Any objection to the scoring of the guidelines?
Just briefly, and I apologize to Ms. Allen. I noticed this while I was waiting right now. Otherwise, I'd generally communicate this before court. But I do believe there was a mistake in OV 15. It scored at 5 points for effectively controlled substance offense under such circumstances or with such amount that indicates trafficking. However, in this case, I believe the total amount was 4 grams, and with trafficking, the way that's defined is not even, so even if the court were to believe he was selling it, trafficking is defined as selling to someone who's going to sell. So I don't think that rises to the level of actually trafficking. So I'd request that OB 15 be scored at 0.
Do the people have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I've changed that to 0. Was that your only one, Mr. Petrovich?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that makes the total OVs 21. Does that change the level or the range?
Yes, Judge, it brings it down to a 2. So he's a D2, which makes it 5 to 23.
Okay. So I made those changes, and there is a Killebrew of 6 months that I acknowledge. Did the people have any other corrections to the report or any other objections to scoring?
Just to the restitution, Your Honor, we spoke with the victim and I sent Mr. Petrovich a detailed restitution as to what was missing and the damage to the truck. And that totals $2,400 to Nate Shipley.
Okay,
And that's our only change.
all right. And was there a victim who wished to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, he was going to appear, but he's working. So I have a statement that I can read from him.
Okay, go right ahead.
Mr. Shipley says, if I could say anything to the judge and Dustin, it would be that I just hope he gets help. And I know addiction can ruin people's lives and make them make bad decisions. I don't personally know Dustin, so I can't judge him or say he's a bad guy. He just made some bad choices and it looks like it's drug related. I got a lot of friends that are his age and his photo reminds me of. So he could very well be somebody I know or could have known and been friends with. So I would ask the judge to be merciful and try to encourage him to get into an addiction recovery program. But having my truck stolen was not fun. The day it was gone and just missing, I was full of anxiety and depression. And then once the truck was recovered, there was so much damage done, it took 4 months to repair. I had to make other arrangements to get around and get my jobs done as I run my own company. And I needed that truck, so it was quite an inconvenience just to have somebody joyride around in it. And Your Honor, I would just reiterate his comments. It's clear that this stems from drug addiction. It seems to be an ongoing issue that hopefully, Mr. Sweet can get back on the right path. And we would leave the sentence then to the court. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then Mr. Petrovich, I'll hear from you.
Yes, Your Honor. I think that, one of the most important things to understand on this case, and I think the court is aware of that this ultimately these series of facts and circumstances involved 3 counties, with Clinton County, Ingham County, and Livingston County, with Livingston County having just resolved. It does appear that there is still a pending matter out of Eaton County as well, as has unfortunately been all too common in how they approach cases with people waiting in custody on that. They don't exactly seek out and actively try to get people arraigned or have those things moved. So as far as I understand it, Eaton County hasn't even really gotten started with this yet. My main concern, and I know that Mr. Sweet's big concern with this, is effectively having things be in the complicated situation when there is supervision in multiple counties, and the fact that the system can effectively get in the way of itself. And so I understand the people's desire, and as well as the complaining witness's desire for this to have treatment on this. I'd ask the court to consider that in determining whether to place him on supervision here as well for this case. When he has so much and has stuff that is still working its way through the system with Eaton County, which will hopefully, now that everything else seems to be cleared up, hopefully they will actually start moving on that relatively soon. Beyond that, I just have one other primarily thing to address. I was going to address this in requesting corrections, but I think it's more appropriate here, and from seeing your sentences earlier, I think you're going to do this anyway. But I noticed that condition 35 still had the language of no medical marijuana, even in compliance. So I'd ask that you'd also do what you've been doing in all the other sentencings I've seen today. As long as it's
Yeah.
in compliance, it should be allowed.
Yeah, I've been amending all of those, as well as the detainer language that changed April 1st. So thank you. Okay, so Mr. Sweet, is there anything you wish to say?
Yeah, I've been incarcerated for almost a year, and I acknowledge my problem, my path that I was going down. I want to apologize just to the courts, you know. And I do realize that I put a lot of people in danger, let alone myself, and, you know, innocent people that were just trying to do their job. And I just apologize.
Okay, thank you. Well, you know, it's always unfortunate when, I mean, it's a blessing, but it's also unfortunate when the victim of the crime is as compassionate and understanding and humane as this victim is, while at the same time indicating that, you know, he suffered some loss from this and it had an impact on him. So it's just sad that sometimes the nicest people are the ones that become crime victims, but he really hit the nail on the head as far as, you know, what needs to happen here. I would like very much to send you to inpatient treatment, but I can't do that because you've got the pending cases in Eaton County. So I can't send you, treatment won't take you if you've got a pending felony, you know, that's holding you. So that might be an option down the road for you, but right now, unfortunately, I can't do that. There is a Killebrew agreement of no more than 6 months. You've already exceeded that. So right now, the focus for my sentence is going to be on your terms of probation. And that will be an 18-month term of probation with 269 days in jail and credit for 269 days served. You have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $68 in state costs. I'm waiving supervision fees, restitution in the amount of $2,400 to Nate Shipley, costs in the amount of $250 to the county based on the state court administrative office calculated average cost of a criminal case in Ingham County. Additional conditions of probation are no use or possession of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances, no recreational use of marijuana or use of marijuana in violation of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. You must comply with both drug and alcohol testing as your agent directs. You must complete outpatient or substance abuse treatment if your agent refers you to that. You must participate in an adult education or a GED program if your agent refers you. You must waive confidentiality and allow any treatment you're in to disclose information about you to your agent. You may not engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. You may not have any contact with anyone you know to have a felony record. You must not change your residence unless you first get written permission from your agent. You may not possess a weapon while you're on probation. You must comply with the written and verbal orders of your agent, let the agent into your home at any time, and submit to a search of your person or property without need of a warrant. Report any changes to your agent within 24 hours. You must be in your approved residence between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless you're otherwise excused. Your driver's license has to be suspended for a period of 1 year. You may not drive a motor vehicle while your license is suspended, and you must make genuine efforts to find and maintain employment a minimum of 30 hours per week. And Mr. Sweet, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You are entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. It explains that more on the form that we will send to you. And you should just know that that 42 days starts running from today's date. So like I say, really, you've got to work on clearing up these other matters. Mr. Sweet, my sentence is no additional jail time and a probationary sentence. When that actually starts to meaningfully take effect, we'll see when you get out of custody on your other cases. Do you have any questions before we go?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good luck to you then. you're all set. You can tell them at the jail you're all done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Marie Maldonado, docket number 19-804FH. And this is the time set for a hearing on a request for early discharge from probation. And Ms. Maldonado is present, the agent is present, and Ms. Allen for the people. I did get a report, a case report indicating that all conditions of probation have been met, and it was recommended that Ms. Maldonado be successfully discharged. I would just ask Agent DeRose if you had anything to add to that.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to say that Ms. Maldonado has been an excellent candidate for probation. She's remained employed the entire time. She has reported every time that she was scheduled. She's completed all of her treatment along with all of her payment obligations. Therefore, I would recommend that she successfully be discharged from probation.
Great, thank you. And then did the people wish to be heard? There's no victim to be heard on a case like this, but did the people wish to be heard?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Ms. Maldonado, or I should say Mrs. Maldonado husband, if that's the case. Did you want to say anything? You are muted, but did you want to say anything? No, she shook her head no. Okay, well, you've done real well on probation. I congratulate you. You've done a great job. I hope that you got something out of it and that it's helped you move on with your life. Looks like you probably have. You look pretty happy. So I will hope for the best for you for the rest of your life. And I'm very happy to successfully discharge you early from probation. And good luck. You're very welcome. And I'll sign an order as soon as one is submitted to me. I can sign it very quickly if it's electronically submitted. Okay, then that will conclude our hearings for this afternoon.